Up.
And I'm up. What are we talking about? Oh, yes. running. Yes. The Mopar M1, we're going to compare the number 8 runner to the number 1 runner. We flow tested and we got some numbers. If you look over here, the number 8 is the outside one. And the outside one up front is the number 1 cylinder. So we were kind of wondering, is there an issue with this being so tight and this one being so open?
Let's see if we can just get a little view of that, just to re-show it.
It's just that really weird carburetor pad. And everybody, will say, oh, fuel distribution, this, that, it's a carburetor. It's a wet flow manifold. You're going to have issues no matter what you have on top.
That is true. No matter what you do, you're never going to get it perfect.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting experiment. And when you look at the flow numbers, the guy that did this intake obviously knows what he's doing because it turned out really well. Let's take a quick look at the numbers, unless you have something else to add for this.
No, we should look at the numbers.
Okay.
I mean, because it's really good.
Okay, this is going to be relatively quick, and we're going to take this runner that we're just seeing now, which is our number 1, right? We're going to compare that to the Victor 340 I did for my Australian customer, and we're going to go heads up against this number 1 runner versus this number 8 runner. I think we can fit that all on one video. It should be no sweat. Okay, so this is what you guys saw before. Okay, these pluses and minuses disregard. These pluses and minuses are comparing our number 1 runner to our number 8 runner. Okay, check this out. Take a look at how good a job this guy did, right? How close these are. All the way down. Obviously, the guy knows what he's doing. Look at how close that is. Plus or minus a few through the whole band. And remember, it has a mismatch. It's got a bigger opening in the manifold than the cylinder head. The other thing we should point out that we didn't talk about, the cylinder head only flows 230, guys. Look at how well this is doing through a carburetor, right? This has got my 770 on it. You're not losing a tremendous amount. So the guy did a great job as far as evening the flow, even with this plenum. So obviously, not that big a deal when you put a Holly on it. Now, if we tested it with a thermoquad, we might get different results, but
we'll have to do that later, and we'll get a more appropriate head on top. The funny thing was, this was his first M1 spread board that he ported.
First one he's ever done. So he's had practice. He's definitely had practice.
He's done some Victors before.
I bet he's got some gray hair. Okay, so the guy did a great job as far as our flow. Now, because it's a different runner, right? It's going to have a different length, okay, from one to the other. They're always a little bit different, and they're coming in at a slightly different angle, so that might affect our swirl. Okay, so we'll take a look at our swirls. These pluses and minuses are in reference to this one. Plus, minus equals plus, minus, plus. Take a look at how close we are down here. Very close. Very close. Off a bit. 200, not bad. Big difference right here, right? Big difference from this one to this one. Here, we're almost the same. Almost the same. Okay, sorry guys, I got interrupted, but no big deal. Where were we? I think we were about here, okay? Very close. Look at that. 32 equals. Very similar curve. The only thing is this starts a touch earlier. I would take this one, but in reality, I don't think they're going to make more than a couple horsepower difference between the two. Overall, the guy who ported this did a great job, and really even as far as port to port, and our swirl is definitely a usable amount. What we're going to do now is we're going to compare this runner, which is our number 1 on our M1, to this number 8 on the Victor 340 that I did, and see how they do. Okay guys, this is the runner that I did for my Australian customer, And these got bolted to a set of EQ Magnums that I did, but they had the LA bolt pattern design on it, and it worked out really well. With my 770 carb, this intake ported the way it is right now, and the cylinder heads, I think I think it was like 260 CFM. You could go and check that video out, but you can see what I did. I didn't go off the deep end. I flowed all of the runners, and obviously the low runners got a little extra attention. The runners that already flowed well enough after my first go over may not get much work afterwards. But I did a fairly good job at evening these out. You'll be able to find that somewhere. You can see I even did a Dicom test on it at one point. Okay. That really didn't work out right. It just kind of made a mess. Let's take a look at our flows. Okay, I don't know whether Aussy is with the S's or Z's, but my spelling kind of stinks to begin with. Not good when you're a teacher. Don't make a spelling mistake on the board, the students would go crazy. It's like, you know what, it happens.
They'd be screaming at me all day long.
It happens. Okay, these pluses and minuses disregard. These pluses and minuses are in reference to our M1 runner. Okay? And I did it on the same sheet so we can compare them easily. Take a look side to side. Okay, we got a minus, a plus, small pluses, right? Plus, plus, plus. The pluses start to gain a little bit, but not a huge difference. We're only, what, 5 and change here?
Yeah, 5, 6 CFM. I mean, it's really not a big spread, but, as you go up and lift, when you get to that 600, 700, it becomes a bunch. The Victor is a superior intake manifold as cast and ported, so...
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so it did pretty well, and I joked with Rob. I go, if my ported intake is terrible, we're not gonna make a video on it, because I took a look at the other intake and I knew it would work well, and then I would be upset, but I just thought it was funny. In reality, if it really sucked, I think I probably would have showed it anyway, because I don't really mind showing my failures. Everything in life isn't win-win-win, guys. Learn a lot more from failure sometimes.
That is true.
All right. One of the reasons I know as much as I did is I screwed up plenty of stuff when I was young.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's take a look at these pluses and minuses in reference to our Swirl. And it's interesting because it's a completely different manifold, so it's going to enter it a different way. The Victor 340 is cut for a 360 gasket, so it has overhang. There's no question about it. We got a plus, minus, minus, minus equals. Plus, minus, 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 plus, plus. How close are they? Overall, these guys are really, really close. These are 200 and change away. Look at how close these are. Different designs and still relatively close all the way up. So both usable curves. They'll both make good power, I guarantee it. I think they rate the Victor 340 for 8,500 RPM. I may not be right with that. If I didn't get that right, straighten me out on the comments. Rob and I are going to go and eat some sandwiches Whiffy just made us because we're starved. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a good night.